I mean, I think the biggest thing for me has been kind of just listening to my body, but also staying active and doing things that I love, because when I do too much of just like laying, then I get pretty sad. So once I get an approval from my doctor, I'm like, I'm going for it until my body tells me slow down. I'm not a huge complainer to people in my life. I just kind of push through. And the person that probably heard it the most was my daughter Slate, because we ride together, and I'd be like, gosh, I have a headache. And then probably about 3 weeks before we ended up finding out what was going on, I had self-diagnosed myself with I was having migraines. So I went to one of my best friends at the horse show, and I'm like, Akol, please help me. I know you have migraine medication. And I took it, and it actually didn't help. And I was like shaking and feeling crazy. And so then kind of the next step was then I went to work for a brand at the Super Bowl. And afterwards, Tamara's was like, you want to go out? I'm like, I don't think I can. Like, I really don't feel good. Like, I have really bad headaches. So I made it through that weekend, got home, did the podcast on Monday, and then Tuesday, I probably have never called in sick to the pod, to Two Teas in a Pod. And on Tuesday, I called and I'm like, guys, I don't think I can do the pod today. Like, something is really wrong. And at that point, it was pretty dark in my head. Like, I could not see. So I'm like laying like on my couch. My kids are already at school, and I'm like, I can't see. I don't know what to do. And I called Edwin, and I'm like, at this point, we weren't living together. We were nesting. So I'm like, I'm so sorry. Can you come pick me up? I need to go to the hospital. And he's like, why? I haven't heard one thing about you need. And I'm like, I can't see, and something is going on. And then he came and took me to the emergency room in Tarzana.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was that portion. And then, you know, you wait a little while in the emergency room, and I have to say thank you so much to Edwin, because at this point I was so edgy because the pain had become something I had never felt before. And in the emergency room is where they diagnosed me with multiple brain tumors. And the emergency room guy's like, hey, you know, like, I'm the ER doc. I can't take these out. We got to get you into Cedars. And I'm like, well, can't you get me in tonight? Like, I want to go tonight. Like, I'm one of those people, like, once I know something. And I didn't really comprehend, like, what brain tumors were. Or when people ask, I mean, to kind of set us back, I had 6 brain tumors and 2 lung tumors. They all come from melanoma that metastasize into these tumors inside of my body. So a lot of people have been confused when they hear tumor, but they're still melanoma. And I have over 16 melanomas on my back. So it just all kind of happened throughout my body. So then cut to, we call Kyle and we're like, how we get into Cedars? And she called around and found a way for us to get in. She's like, but you need to get there by 9:00. And I'm like, it's 8:22 and we're in Tarzana. So I had to just check myself right out of the Tarzana hospital. And I tell the doctor, I'm like, I'm so appreciative to you, but my friend got me. And he's like, but I couldn't get you in yet. Are you sure you can get in? I'm like, yes, I just have to be there by 9. It was within 24 hours that like an incredible surgeon was able to remove 4 tumors from my brain. Oh, so not only did I really realize that my brain tumors were a big deal or that I was having brain surgery, I didn't really realize it was happening the next day because it happened quick. And I also didn't know that they had been there for 6 months to a year, and we had no idea. Like, my little headaches just kept getting worse and worse and worse, but I thought, oh, they're just headaches. I work a lot, or I didn't drink enough water, or whatever it may be. It was once my body started like almost falling down is when I knew, like, that's not me. Like, I may be clumsy, but I don't fall down. But I find out for sure June 1st exactly where we kind of stand and if we need to do another round. if there's any other kind of surgery, if it's the end. When I was in the ICU, it was incredibly difficult because I had no memory and I didn't know what was happening to me. And I couldn't remember the dates any day. But one day I did realize, because one of my friends had helped me, she had written down the date and she's like, when Claire comes in, here it is. And I was like, great. But then I realized as I was looking at it, it was my daughter's birthday. And I couldn't be there for it. And it was really sad. And still right now it's sad when I can't be there for my kids the way I would always normally be. Everybody thinks that there's a moment in treatment, but when you have brain surgery, you're not really there. My dad came, all my siblings came, I had friends from all over the country come visit. Edwin was on a mission to make sure every single person he knows that I love and care about came to visit me. I don't remember one person. I got this message finally sent to me on, somebody forwarded me a Facebook, and they're and I was like, hold on, she was there? There's just certain things that your brain doesn't comprehend. And I remember things that annoy me. Once they put the drain in my brain, I was really not happy about that. But you're not speaking clearly. And so then they put in these little, they're white little, I like to call them handcuffs. They like to call them reminders. I'm like, they're not reminders. These little white things that I'm attached to myself like this are not reminders. Please, I promise I won't touch my head. I'll have somebody watch me. I won't touch my head. And they're like, you need your little white reminders. And I'm like, if I ever see those white reminders again, mm-mm. I mean, even though I was kind of annoyed because I was always tired that so many people were there, I'm so happy now because the memories that they've shared, because they're sometimes you seemed like you were totally with it and you were in on the joke, and sometimes you were just a hot mess express and could not be reasoned with. And you would, one day you were deep down into Heath Ledger was stalking you at night. I was like, Heath is coming over every night. And they're like, what's he saying? And I was like, he's coming. I don't know. He'll be here tonight. Stay late. They're like, somebody is with you 24/7. You realize that? Oh, I'm so over it already. But because they had to put these, the little drains in, I had these holes in my hair. And so that's why we ended up shaving it. But it then became news to me as post-radiation, you lose chunks of your hair anyway. So I'm going to have to do a second shave. But Cruz made it a little better because he's like, Mom, we can get all the same haircuts. And I'm like, that's so great for you. That's terrible news for me. Great news for you, buddy. I don't think when Vanessa shaved my head, I cared that much. But something that hit me really hard was the first time when I went to go work out. And I'm sitting there bald and my entire body and everything looked completely different because the steroids really affect you. And I tried to run and I couldn't. And that's when everything was oh my gosh, Teddi, you are no longer where you were. You can't just jump right back into this. You have to slowly work your way up. And that was pretty devastating to me. I was, at Barry's boot camp, crying. And the poor guy's looking at me you good? And I'm like, no. And Edwin's like, he's trying to be all motivational. I'm like, now's not the time to be nice. I'm running at a 4.2. Well, first off, this is a little PSA to all of you guys. Get life insurance. Get life insurance early. Go ahead and zip right on over and get it now. And also, do your will. And doing all of these, one, I didn't get approved for life insurance, but doing your will and doing all of those things once you've already been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer isn't a dream. I'm like, okay, now I have to go through this detail? That's really hard. So do it before you get sick. Hopefully you never get sick, but do it before you get sick, because I can assure you it's going to be easier than after. I think everybody wants me just to be super positive all the time, but one of my coping mechanisms is being sarcastic. So I'm like, well, that's going to be D-Day. Not in front of my kids, I don't say it, but I'm like, but that's D-Day. What do you mean? We can't talk, like, and they're like, Teddy, no, we need constant positivity. But like sometimes I feel like constant positivity can be toxic, for me at least, because I would rather joke about it and then have the best possible outcome than be completely in denial about it and then have my heart broken. All three of my kids and my stepdaughter, they're all very different personality types. Like Slate wants to know every crumb of every detail. She's my identical human. Like we look the same, we talk the same, we have all the same issues. So she wants every detail. Cruz is like a worrywart. So like the other night, he's in the room with me. We're watching one of our favorite shows, Masked Singer. And, at first he's all, like, is that you? And I'm like, I'm telling you, none of these are going to be me. None of these are me. But he's like, can I have a sip of your water? And I'm like, yeah, sure, bud. And then I handed it to him. And then he goes, oh, no. I'm like, what? And he's like, you already took a sip. I'm like, so what? I'm not sick. And he goes, you're contagious. And I'm like, I'm not contagious. There's nothing about me contagious. You can have the water. And he's like, I'm not trusting it. Not trusting it. But, and then my little one, she just does everything. Like if I'm putting ice on my head, she's putting ice on her head. I don't know that she necessarily understands, but Slate and Cruz do. Like Cruz is always the one saying the things that I'm like, did he really just say that? Like he's like, did you get the letter when you were in the hospital? And I was like, what letter? And he's like, Mom, my entire class, we wrote you a letter. I go, well, how did everybody know? And he goes, Mom, you're all over the internet.
Damn internet.
He goes,
see everything.
They all know. I'm like, oh, I don't know. They took my phone away.
Oh my God. What about your youngest?
She really, she's, as long as she's having fun with somebody, she doesn't really care. Like, she's just like, yeah, whatever. We're good to go. Like last night I was really tired and I'm like, okay, Dad's going to put you to bed. And she's like, all right, peace out, Mom. Love you. Kisses or no? I would say I'm fighting for my life, but also for my family's life and all the people I love's life. I can't imagine going, I can't imagine, does this sound, now I sound like a narcissist. I can't imagine any of them living without me.